we just bring in here Dunola Odulapu from the Avast Foundation, because Dunola, you're actually working for a technology platform which is trying to do something about all this trolling. How do you see the role of a platform? And do you see this kind of technology for tracking hate speech? Do you think that's useful?
Thank you so much, Emily. So for context, the Avast Foundation is the philanthropic arm of Avast PLC. And, Avast is a huge cybersecurity firm. And, our focus at the foundation is just the freedom and safety of everyone online, digital freedom and safety for all. And we're really passionate about, discovering a solution to issues of, people's online safety. And it's been so great to hear the fellow panelists sharing some of the experiences and some of the amazing platforms they were working on trying to actually tackle some of these issues. But we're starting with actually defining digital safety and freedom. What does it actually mean in real terms for people to feel, safe online? And there's a piece of work that will be coming out in October on trolling and how tech can take more responsibility in this area. From the perspective of the Youth Leadership Board, we're really focusing on the experiences of young people online. And we've started with doing a global survey of asking young people to try to think of how safe they feel, especially women and girls, and those from historically marginalized groups or from different faiths, and for them to really try to think about how safe they feel online. And then also we need to think about how we actually measure this, because a lot of this data is not just quantitative but also qualitative, and then what is it all feeding into? And all this work that we're doing is now feeding into the wider work that we're doing to try to ensure that more people are feeling safe and free online.
Dunola, can I bring you in, because you've done a lot of work, haven't you, on trolling and the impact of trolling on people? I mean, what does it do to someone when they're on the receiving end of this kind of hate speech? What do people tend to do? Do they fight back? Are they silenced? What have you found?
So, people react in a range of ways, but for me, the key thing, or the key word that I would like us to kind of just keep thinking about, is accountability. So people who, wish to troll or manipulate or weaponize, hate speech against others, what they look for is a loophole, right? If someone physically commits a hate action against someone, there's more of a chance of them being prosecuted or them being held into account. But when this happens online, it's this lack of accountability that I think people really struggle with. Like when something happens against you, and it's just really difficult to try to get hold of, the person, for them to, feel any sort of justice. And most of the time, or a lot of the time, people who perpetrate get away with it. And on a micro level, of course, we can see impact on mental health and so on. But on a macro level, you start seeing, groupthink. We think of the word community as a positive thing, right? But sometimes negative communities form based on these sort of actions of trolling, and people really form around this, negative things, and it really could have negative impacts, not just on individuals, but on communities. So when you ask, what's at stake, it's really the safety and freedom of people, not just online, but also offline. And most of the time, the lines are blurred. And when people don't feel safe online, it can actually affect their offline safety as well, which is why we're working towards the digital safety and freedom of people. Avast is something that we think is so important to try to protect.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Thank you, Dunola.